Hello and welcome to the Dublin Arsenal preview show. I'm your host, Jonathan Giles. On this week's preview show, I'm joined by regular guest Eamon Donnelly to look ahead to Friday night's Premier League clash at the Emirates Stadium against Kieran McKenna's relegation-threatened Ipswich Town side, live on Premier Sports and Amazon Prime at 20:15 p.m. And remember to check out our preview show on the Dublin Arsenal YouTube channel and also on Spotify. So sit back and enjoy the show. As I said in my intro, I'm joined by my regular guest for the preview show at this stage, Eamon Donnelly. How are you, pal? In the festive spirit.
Evening, Jonathan. How would you find Will Smith in the snow? You just look for the Fresh Prince. Well, see, me Christmas decorations are inflatable. I'm forever blowing baubles. Anyway, You don't need Christmas crackers on this show.
When you've got Eamon Donnelly,
available on top. Anyway, we're playing Ipswich.
Yeah, we're playing Ipswich Town. Kieran McKenna's promoted side, of course, back-to-back promotions. I have to say, fair play to him. The last time we faced Ipswich Town was quite a while back. It was our last meeting was actually at the old Highbury Stadium, as you can see in both our backgrounds. It was on Saturday, the 24th of April 2002, 2-0 victory, all courtesy of the one and only Freddie Youngberg, who scored twice that day. So that's going back quite a while now, 22 years now. Just to start off, like we normally do, players who have played for both sides, I'll just run through them quickly. Chris Kiwania, Richard Wright, of course, the goalkeeper, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, not too long ago now, Jerome Thomas, Matthew Upson, Paolo Vernazza, Moritz Valls, Paul Mariner from the 76-77 era, J. Emmanuel Thomas, Alan Sutherland, 83-84, and Brian Talbot, I have down here, 68-69. Eamon, have you any players that you remember playing for both?
Well, let's talk about Brian Talbot. Brian Talbot broke into the Ipswich team when I started watching football around 72. He was only about 18. And it was a big thing. We had a guy called Trevor Ross in the middle of the pitch playing beside Liam Brady. And everybody was saying Trevor Ross, was really one to watch out for. And out of the blue, I think it might have been around Christmas time in 1978, the news came on that we'd sold Trevor Ross to Everton and we brought in Brian Talbot from Ipswich. Now, Brian Talbot had been on the Ipswich team that beat us in the 78 Cup final, right? And then he went and scored for us in the 79 Cup final. And so he was the first player to win 2 consecutive FA Cups with different clubs. So he was part of our 1979 in the Liam Brady final. And he stayed with us until 1985. Oh, he was a great player for the Arsenal. And Sparky John actually met him.
Did he?
That came away against Fulham last year on New Year's Eve. Brian was there. And, there's always a question about Brian was, which is this club, Ipswich or the Arsenal? And he said, once an Arsenal man, always an Arsenal man.
That's class.
And Paul Mariner, you'd mentioned there.
Yeah.
We had Paul Mariner in the 80s. Yeah. We had Paul Mariner in the 80s when he was an England international. He was playing up front with Tony Woodcock.
Yeah.
In a team that, on its day could beat anybody. But, the players are being well paid and we were a nice team. And Paul Mariner, we sadly lost him a couple of years ago. He was at Kiwania. Kiwania actually was great.
He was actually decent enough, wasn't he?
He was great for Ipswich. He was terrible for us.
Yes, he came kind of at the back end, didn't he?
In fact, the story about Kiwania that you mentioned him.
Actually, Sir Eamon for coming across. Was that around the time David Platt came to Arsenal and John Hartson, Chris Kiwania?
Well, no, I'll tell you what it was now. George Graham got sacked in February of 1995. And the week before he was sacked, he bought John Hartson and Chris Kiwania.
Yeah.
We were actually struggling against relegation, right? Yeah. So Hartson did Hartson was only 19. We paid big money, a couple of million off Luton Town for him. And a couple of million off Ipswich for Kiwania. And it would seem that, like, We're all saying that Hartson would be the one for a couple of years' time. Kawamia now would be a great addition. It just didn't work out for him. Chris Kawamia, he basically, Ian Wright was in the way. And, it didn't work out for him. Richard Wright looked great at Ipswich. And we thought, this is the future. But it didn't work out. So, really, I mean, Mariner did okay. But of all those players you mentioned, the most notable, I can assure our younger listeners, Brian Talbot, he played with us from 78 to 85 or 6. And he was quality, real workhorse in the middle of the pitch who could play a bit as well, Yeah.
Yeah, I think Matthew Upson, who was a centre back for ourselves, Jerome Thomas and Paolo Vernazza, that's going back. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, Eamon, it was unfortunate for himself, wasn't it, that he's actually...
He went on loan there early in his career,
Yeah, he done really well actually on loan as well, didn't he, in his career, yeah. Sadly, it just didn't work out at the Arsenal. J. Emmanuel Thomas, he was a big, physical, athletic lad as well, remember, but you're right there, out of all them, Brian Talbot, cracking.
Yeah.
In terms of head-to-head, Arsenal and Ipswich, it stands at 4 home wins, 4 away wins, and 2 draws, all in Arsenal's favour. And of course, the year they went down was in 2002. I think they had to play us, Liverpool, and United. They had wretched last 4 or 5 games to stay up against the top teams, and I think they lost every one of them. But can you remember? I know Marcus Stewart, sadly, is battling M&D at the moment. He was their top scorer. The fourth year they went up with George Borley, a fantastic striker. I think he ended up being top scorer that season, I think, in the league. What was your memories of them in the Premier League the last time they were in it, Eamon? They beat Europe, didn't they, as well?
The Premier League, they were actually 2 seasons before they went down. They were in contention for the Champions League spot, and the Champions League spot was only top 2 at that time.
Was it?
Oh, absolutely. They were in contention. They were really, really good. But I want to just take the listeners back. See, Ipswich it's a town. It's not a city.
Yeah, right? It's a town.
If you go back to Sir Bobby Robson managed them from the early 70s to the time he got the England job in the early to middle 80s, right? And they won the UEFA Cup in 1981. They won the FA Cup in 1978. And in fact, they blew the title in 1981 when Aston Villa won it. That was Ipswich's title to lose all day long. We actually beat Villa on the last day of the season, and Ipswich lost at Middlesbrough. But what I'm saying is that for the size of the town, that was a phenomenal achievement. And I would have grown up in an era where Ipswich were the top flight team. That was the Ipswich I was born and bred on.
Do you think, Eamon, do you think that was to make the Sir Bobby Robson the success that he had with Ipswich, and then he went?
It was Bobby Robson. Oh no, yeah. Bobby Robson was Ipswich. I know he's from Newcastle, and younger people remember him being with Newcastle. Yeah, but Bobby Robson was Ipswich. Yeah. They were a great team.
There's a statue of him outside there as well, isn't there? If I'm correct.
There is, yeah.
Yeah, there is, yeah. And of course, they have Sheran now as well.
Jonathan, I was just thinking before we did this show. They're the only team in the Premier League that I've never seen.
That's amazing.
I've never seen them.
You never saw them at Highbury?
I was just thinking today when I was, queuing in the bloody supermarket. I was thinking, Ipswich. Right? I've been to watch the Arsenal.
Yeah.
Over 300 times, and I've never seen Ipswich Town.
That's
I'm gonna put that right on Friday. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely a cracking game. Yeah. Of course, in terms of their position at the moment, currently, 19th position, and on 12 points. And just briefly, they have a nice little Irish contingent there at the moment. Chidozie Ogbeni, who's a real talent. Sammy Smotics, who had a really good season with Blackburn last season, and he's kind of carried that over as well this season. Darrow O'Shea, our centre back. Jack Taylor. And a couple of players to note that's really impressed me. this season. Liam Delap, who's on loan from Man City, who's the son, of course, of Rory Delap with his long throw-ins, he was famous for, and O'Malley Hutchinson. How it's kind of, you could say, it's been quite an achievement for Kerr McKenna. They look a bit out of their depth, Eamon, don't they? It's really a championship squad in the Premier League, sadly, isn't it? Or do you think do you think that they've a good enough squad to get out of the trouble that they're in?
I think we mentioned this on the show. I think Southampton are. I don't see them. I don't see them doing anything.
Yeah.
I think Wolves are too good.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to put pressure on Ipswich.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I watched them in full against Man United a few weeks ago, and they were a terrific watch. I don't think, in talking about the game on Friday, I don't think they're set up for this low block. They don't play that type of football. They play their football on the ground and quick, snappy passing. Okay, the level of player they have available to them is probably 5% less than some of the top teams, But I tell you, I wouldn't take their challenge lightly because they have neat players and they play neat football. And they're a small bit easy to score against, I think,
How impressed are you with the Irish lads, Benny, Smodix and Darragh O'Shea?
Anytime I've seen, I've seen one full game of Ipswich this year and several highlights packages. Smodix has been doing well. He's busy. I think the lap has it all.
Yeah, hasn't he?
He's a
very strong lad, isn't he?
Sorry, I saw 2 games. I saw them draw 2-2 at home with Villa, and the lap ran the show that day. The lap is good. I like that lad Taylor. I've seen more of him for Ireland than Ipswich because I think he got a bit of an injury.
Did you?
Again, they play good passing football, and he's a good coach. That guy, Kieran McKenna.
He came from Manchester United, didn't he, Eamon?
Yeah.
Do you think he has a good career ahead of him as a coach? He seems to be back-to-back promotions is no mean feat as well, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is good. Like it's all down to, and this is no disrespect to anybody connected with Ipswich Town. What's his next job going to be? Because Graham Potter was the bright new thing at Brighton. He took the wrong job.
Chelsea.
At the wrong time. I'm not having my usual cut at Chelsea, but the mess Chelsea were in at that time, he took the wrong job. And Graham Potter nowhere now. Nowhere to be seen,
That's another just briefly on that as well, Eamon. Graham Potter, like he done really well at Brighton in particular, obviously. Where do you see what sort of club would fit Graham Potter now? Would a team like Ipswich Town would that obviously, but Kerr McKenna, I can't see him going anytime soon. But what type of club do you think?
I can't really answer that question because I don't know.
There's nothing out there.
No one seems to be looking for him.
Surprising, isn't it?
Leicester had a vacancy. Southampton had a vacancy. Nobody was looking for Graham Potter. It's a strange one,
I was looking at Ipswich against Newcastle. Newcastle opened them up there when that early goal went in against Isak. Their heads kind of just dipped, didn't it? And Newcastle were fairly at it. I thought Tonali, since he's come back, has been a huge presence for them alongside Bruno Guimaraes. In terms of top player stats, I've just written down as well for this. Liam Delap is their top scorer with 6. And ourselves, Kai Havertz is our top scorer at the moment with 6. Bukayo Saka on 5, sadly he was injured. And Saka is the most assists currently with 10. In terms of the game on Friday, Eamon, obviously no Saka, which is a huge loss. And from today's reports, it could be the guts of a month. He's going to be out. How do you see the game going yourself on Friday, Eamon? As you said, Ipswich won't be playing with that low block. As you said, they like playing on the floor.
Well, I'm not sure they won't play with a low block. I'm just saying, they wouldn't be as adept at playing with a low block as Fulham or Everton would.
Yeah,
because that's not what they do. Now they might come out and try it, but it's not organically natural to them to do that. So the second thing is I went to the game last season after Stevens' day, and we played West Ham at home. So
Remember
tread carefully. I don't know what was in. I don't know what was in our Christmas dinner. We had 32 shots to their 2, and we lost 2-0. So look, I mean, you can always get something like that, but I expect us to dominate the game. I expect them to try and hold on to possession as much as they can, try and get Smodic run in. But they've been a bit easy to score against. Now, mind you, their last visit to North London, they went and beat Tottenham 6 weeks ago. Now, looking at Tottenham yesterday, the team and Father Ted, with Father Romeo Sensini. Remember, he was in the wheelchair, and they said, like, actually, he's quite mobile. He only needs one nun to get him out of the chair. That team could have beaten Tottenham yesterday. I mean, they were wide open.
Risk and reward football, Eamon. Yeah,
but Ipswich went and beat Spurs there, by the same margin as we did. So
they've a good player actually, Eamon.
Premier League. Jonathan, if you look at how bad Southampton are, Southampton took the lead against us on an hour.
That's right. Yeah,
and we had to dig it out. So look,
do you think we could be in for a game like that, Eamon? Do you think do you think they'll dig deep and try catch us? They seem to like catching teams kind of on the break as well, don't they? In particular,
I think it's more that we're not at 100%. There's always a danger. And I always think that, and again, you've heard me say this on the show a few times. If a team gives you the pitch, you have it easy and you don't score, it's very hard if they start moving up the pitch collectively 10 meters and they start getting a bit more on the ball. It's very hard for you to lift yourself because you've had it easy for 45 minutes. So look, the key to this is the way we went at Palace. We overloaded the box. We got numbers up top. We can afford to take that gamble again. And if we go in front against Ipswich, there's only going to be one outcome. Yeah,
it could be a feast full of goals. Yeah, when we get going. Yeah. Is there there's a young player that has really impressed me with this, which Eamon, Leif Davis. He scored a cracker against Tottenham Hotspur, and that I think was 2-1. They won that day. Is there any players that stood out for you from the times you've watched Ipswich Town this season? Obviously, Liam Delap, as you mentioned earlier, as a cracker of a strike on him, hasn't he? The power he gets behind it is incredible. Yeah.
No, you see, I don't really think that they have. Delap is a standout player. Delap is a higher standard than the rest of the players.
Players? Do you think
I just think that collectively they play nice football.
Yeah.
Their fullbacks are tidy. Yeah. They play nice football. So
yeah. Yeah, you expect a decent win on Friday. Yeah, a few players I was just looking at before doing a bit of research last night. Finidi George played for them. He was some player for that season. He scored that chip over.
Anytime you get a taxi home and there's a Nigerian driver,
you say
all you've got to do to light up their world is talk about the Nigerian team in 1994, and in particular Sunday Oliseh, who scored a screamer to beat Spain.
Remember that? Super
Billy George was on that team, and our own legend Kanu, of course, and Daniel Amokachi. Yeah.
Rashidi Yankini.
JJ Okocha. Alex Owobi's uncle.
Yeah. They had a great team, the Super Eagles. Yeah, Finidi George.
They won the Olympics, and Italy got by them. Yeah, the Baggio undone them in the quarterfinal of the World Cup. Yeah.
I remember briefly, Eamon, when they were in Europe. I think it was around 01-02. They bet Inter Milan 1-0 in their place. Alan Armstrong got the goal. I think Francesco Toldo was in goal. That was a great night for them in European football. Yeah, but as you said, for a town, Bobby Robson put them on the map, didn't he?
Unbelievable. Anybody?
Do you remember them, Eamon, from yesteryear, around that era? Do you remember them when they were?
I remember them well. I could tell you, I could
Yeah.
rattle off the team. They were that good. You know.
Throw a few names out there, Eamon.
Well, they had this guy at centre back called Kevin Beattie, right? He was injury prone, but he was an absolute beast, a beautiful player. They had Brian Talbot in the middle of the pitch. They had Mick Mills, who played 80 times for England. And they had Paul Mariner, Trevor Wymark up front, Clive Woods out in the wing, John Walk, who went on to have a great career with Liverpool. And then I'll tell you what Robson did. Before foreign players start coming, they got two Dutch lads, a fella called Frans Thijssen and Arnold Muren, both of whom went to Man United. And this was in 1980. And they had these two Dutch lads in the middle of the pitch, and they were phenomenal. And they also introduced Sports Talk, Alan Brazil. He looks more like he looks more like a fella who would have played more snooker than football nowadays, but he was top drawer, you know.
Yeah, Alan Brazil. That's going back a few years now. Yeah, and of course, in that era, as I mentioned, I'm sure you remember yourself, Eamon. Marcus Stewart was a top striker as well, wasn't he? He could find the net.
Well, he was later on,
you're right there. Remember, look, my brother's actually big into the year you're in as well. He's a big Liverpool fan, and he was saying John Walk was some player.
Well, he was manufactured in Bobby Robson's Ipswich team, you know.
Yeah. He had some tash on him as well. What a man.
He had. It was up there with Hardy Enfield. Hardy Enfield, the three Scousers, you know. Hey, it's the busies, eh? You know, yeah.
When you go, it's only when you kind of go down memory lane with clubs like Ipswich Town, as you said, being a town, and you know the success that small teams like that had. You know, it was incredible, isn't it?
But for anybody who doesn't know, it's out on the east coast. It's a very rural part of England, you know.
It's in Anglia, is it? East Anglia, is it?
Anglia, yeah. It's in Suffolk.
Suffolk.
So Norwich is Norfolk. Ipswich is Suffolk. So they're both on the east coast. East Anglia, yeah.
I take it that you've gone to away games, have you, at Portman Road or Carrow Road?
No, Carrow Road, yeah. But I've never seen Ipswich Town, you know. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to. I think the return game this season is April, I think, in Portman Road. That'd be a nice one to see. So hopefully there's a bit on the line for both teams there, yeah. I know you hate Eamon predicting results and all. Could I get your prediction though in terms of the match Friday? 4 or 5-0 I'd probably go for.
No, I don't think so.
You not think so, no?
No, well, see, we go away to Brentford, and I'm gonna say 2-0. Okay.
2-0.
Yeah.
Eamon, yeah. 2-0. Yeah, a respectable 2-0 to get after the Christmas turkey and ham. Yeah, sounds a good proposition that. And you're going to that match yourself, Eamon?
We're going to that game, yeah.
Lovely, Eamon. Another one for the collection for this season as well. Is there anything you'd like mentioned about anything else about the Dublin Arsenal Supporters Club or anything? Or
I think I think we've all had a great time in the last few games. You know, just kind of wishing each other well and a couple of good events, and last week was great. So everybody stay safe over the Christmas, and come on, you Gunners, really, you know. Yeah,
I'd like to thank, as always, we're into about our 16th show now for the previous show, and as always, I'd like to thank Eamon Donnelly for coming on tonight. Much appreciation, Eamon. I'd like to wish you and yours a happy Christmas, and from everyone at the Dublin Arsenal preview show who watches and listens throughout this, have a great Christmas, and we'll see you for the Brentford preview, which is going to be on New Year's Day. But until then, thanks for listening and watching, and have a good one. Come on, you Gunners.
Come on, you Gunners.